All right. So Erica asked about finding the right balance between charcoal and India ink when using them both, maybe not getting dark enough with the India ink. So I'm going to show you, we discussed just lightly doing your charcoal drawings first and then going into India ink. Another way you can do it, which we will get more value out of, is fully developing your drawing first with charcoal, going as far as you can, not just with the vine, but also the compressed. So let me find something to draw. I did set up still life when we did glitter just a second ago. Something simple here. Okay, yeah. So I have this jar of ink. Let's do this jar of ink. It's got this great runny thing, thumbprints. Yeah, that seems cool. All right, so of course our gestural drawing starting now. All right. So I'm going to start building this up here. Well, as soon as I have this thing. Excuse me, puppy. Okay. So let's start building this up with our vine charcoal as far as we can first, and then going in with the ink. And I am not going to do any of that super detail on the packaging until we get to ink, because most likely it will just rub off at this stage. So, that's good. Larger. There we go. It's missing. Okay, then going on to our compressed charcoal. Puppy. New puppy. A new place. She is very, very excited about everything. Anytime anybody makes a noise outside, she is there. She has to know what's going on immediately. And this thing's tiny. It thinks it's a big dog. That might come up a little further. It's kind of dark. Let's put in some shadow. And there is a, yeah, let's put the cloth that's behind it so we can have something else to deal with as well. Back here to fine charcoal. Right, let's get this fabric done right quick. Add a little bit, it's just going right up against there. Shadow. Okay, so we have our charcoal drawing done with these values as far as we could press them in the time drawing. How long have we been doing this? About 30 minutes. So we'd have to spend the rest of our time eating. So let's go there. Well, actually, before we move to that, we have to drop in our highlights really fast. So with your eraser, and then those highlights stand out. About where those words are going to be. Bottom. Maybe put some texture. All right. So now we're good to move on. First step, again, because this is going to get all sorts of messed up if we don't do something cover. At this point, you could put on. Do I have some right here? Oh, that's black spray paint. Some fixative, which we should do that on an area, and then do another portion. So let's put fixative on one side, and then do water on the other. You should do this outside and not like what I'm doing right now. It's toxic. So as this dries, I'm going to come over here and start working in and moving this around. and this allows us to work on top the same way that this does. However, the difference here is all this will match this blending that you're doing with the brush and the water. That's gonna have the same consistency as the shading that you'll do with the India ink. And you can also do a few more things, like you can texture, you can add implied lines. That's me choking on the hazardous fumes of that. Also remember, if it's going to be a serious project like this week will be a serious project, remember to tape down all 4 corners as you work to avoid your paper being warped, or use Bristol paper with that with taping it down. So now, I don't know if you can see it as good on the camera as I can see in person, the difference between the 2 sides, using the spray fixative and using this method with the brush and water. But some of the values did get washed out over here. But the consistency of the drawing is no longer, you don't have your fast organic lines that you get in these areas where you were using the charcoal. Now it's the consistency of the ink. So, how dry is this? Dry? Yeah. Nope. So let's work on this side. I have my black ink here. The way I taught you how to do it that first time is going lightest to darkest. You can do that. That's the way I do it. That's the way you do watercolors. It'll help you better if you learn that way. For other sections, however, we can go darkest to lightest instead of lightest to darkest. So we hit these dark areas here, and then we just brush our values on this way. Now this is harder to control. It does take more time and practice. However, you will get your gradients faster. You will get your drawings done faster. And I think some of you really took to the ink in a great way, and might be ready for this, honestly. And it fades out right there. Taking my darkest value again, going up to the darkest spot I had going. Now you do have to use your pure India ink, and you do have to worry about how much water you're putting down and if it's going to go into other areas. And if you're going to get the consistency that you want. However, it can be learned and it can be beneficial for you. See, I'm already losing that darkness on that space. I can tell I used too much water. But of course, we can wait for this to dry and go back out and hit it again. I can't believe it worked perfectly that first time. Let's take some of that we have there and let it bleed through onto that bottom. And we can have a nice little shadow there. Sorry, it's a little tacky still. See, that's bleeding really fast. Now you can recover from something like that, but you just have to divert the ink, move it around. I have to dab it. That's why I don't recommend working this way, but it's worth trying, especially if you're having a hard time getting those darker values. All right, and over here on this side, and start working up that Indian. Start putting this in the detail. Right. And then we start going in. After this is dry, of course it's not dry now. I'm going to pick out certain areas to hit that won't be affected. We can go in. Actually, you know, we need to talk about grayscaling, some of the ones that want to do more pen and ink. With your white ink, you can work in on top to blend in to these areas and start getting a really solid grayscale. You see how nice that is? You do have to work things up again and again and again, but it is beautiful and worth it. But of course, if you're not interested in that, you can just go in and start hitting up those bright spots that you really want to hit. Oh, that's super wet still. But of course, easy enough to fix. Just about finding what works out well for you. And those drawings of the fruit, I think some of this grayscale stuff would be really nice if you had the time to do that. And seeing that build up visually rather than using just the white of the paper might help you to visualize and push things a little further than you maybe have in the past. Like I said, I mean, that's a really nice area. And of course, the biggest thing, I did like the white backgrounds on those fruit pieces. I don't know if it would have benefited more with a black background, but we can do these gray backgrounds for sure. Just gonna do it on this side because that side still is a little dry on the top. You'll have to work a little bit faster than you normally would, however, it's a big space and there's not detail. And then you come in with your white ink. You know, also the alcohol washes might be good for those fruits as well. And you can go as light or as dark as you want with this, but you have a different consistency. And that might be visually appealing. Oh, you couldn't see what I was doing the entire time. Sorry. So this way, at least you have some sort of background on there that's different and gives some contrast. Just another layer of complexity. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll see what I can do. All right. Have a good day.